Caitlin Clark's preseason debut drew 1.3 million viewers. This news will probably leave Angel Reese's mom in shambles.
Caitlin Clark just delivered a television ratings spectacle so massive, it's making NHL execs nervous, leaving NBA preseason schedulers baffled, and sending the WNBA's veterans scrambling to update their narratives. Buckle up, because what just happened has the entire basketball world buzzing. And let's just say, not everyone is celebrating. Spoiler, the envy is real. Angel Reese's own mom is reportedly losing it.
She's upset. She made a couple of comments a couple of days ago about people literally covering statistical data involving attendance. That's a problem. That's hate.
Tickets for this game actually sold out within the hour, and people were lining up for over 3 hours before the game just to get into this arena.
Clark's preseason debut didn't just capture attention. It hijacked the national narrative. In this video, we're diving into how Clark completely reshaped the landscape for women's hoops, why things are unraveling in Reese's corner, and what it all spells for the sport's future. Because make no mistake, what we're witnessing isn't just historic. It's wild, hilarious, and incredibly revealing. If you're here for greatness, drop "fired up for the fever" in the comments. Let's roll.
WNBA teams are going to have to think of another solution for Caitlin Clark because they're not going to be able to guard her the way that they did during her rookie season.
We're talking 1.3 million viewers for a preseason WNBA game. Yes, you heard that right. Preseason. She didn't just top the opener of last year's WNBA finals, she obliterated it. And by the way, she also pulled more viewers than the NHL playoffs and NBA preseason games. That's not just a spike. It's a full-on ratings explosion.
It was a preseason WNBA game. It is unbelievable what it is Caitlin Clark does.
And this wasn't some sleepy scrimmage either. It was chaos in the best way. Carver Hawkeye Arena was absolutely packed, roaring like it was the national championship. The same court where Clark shattered college records night after night now welcomes her back, this time as the centerpiece of a professional team.
There were 14,998 people in attendance for this game. Average reported ticket price was $650. That is almost $9.75 million just for a WNBA preseason game. This team is going to break so many records this year: attendance, viewership, merch sales, all of the things.
While Clark was lighting up ESPN and sending waves of energy through a hyped-up crowd, someone else was clearly not enjoying the moment. That someone? Angel Reese's mom, who came armed with a smartphone, some major resentment, and a fresh batch of accusations. Because whenever Caitlin shines, it seems like someone in the Reese household has to jump online and start drama.
It's hate when you point out that the Sky game drew 6,373 fans at the college where Angel Reese won the national championship.
Yes. While millions of fans were celebrating a watershed night for the women's game, Angel Reese's mother was busy firing off a heated post aimed directly at Caitlin Clark and her followers. Subtle? Not even close. The message was laced with pointed remarks, finger-wagging, and just enough passive aggression to rival a Real Housewives confessional. Why the hostility? The numbers don't lie. Clark is bringing in historic viewership, and it's got her critics rattled.
Game beat NHL playoff ratings. A WNBA game, a preseason WNBA game, not only beat those ratings, destroyed them. More watched than any NBA preseason game since 2018, all but 2 NBA preseason games since 2010.
Caitlin Clark didn't just show up, she blew the roof off the sports media world. Her preseason debut wasn't just a game, it was a statement. A cultural flashpoint disguised as a basketball matchup. That 1.3 million viewership figure? That's not just impressive for the WNBA, it's groundbreaking. She pulled regular season level numbers with ease, all while smiling, draining threes, and staying completely unbothered.
People were so excited for this game for many reasons, but the main one being that Caitlin Clark would be returning to Iowa to play at Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Now let's talk about that crowd. Carver Hawkeye wasn't merely full, it was electrified. 15,000. Fans packed in shoulder to shoulder, no seats left, with young girls wearing Voucher 22 jerseys and die-hard fans holding signs that said, "I drove 300 miles for Caitlin." This wasn't just a preseason match. It was a celebration fit for royalty.
Brazilian national team, even though they lost by that much, it still seemed like they had a great time. Caitlin was signing their jerseys after the game. They were taking photos with her.
She's my role model. I really look up.
The average seat went for $670. That's not just rare. That's unheard of. And still, fans poured in, paid top dollar, and made it a night to remember. Some. Resale tickets even passed the $6,000 mark for a preseason contest. Welcome to Clarkonomics, and this is only the beginning.
Biggest thing about this team, other WNBA teams are not going to be able to guard Caitlin Clark in the same way that they did during her rookie season because you have so many assets on the court now. You are not going to be able to trap Caitlin Clark because there are so many other threats on the
So what did Caitlin do with all that pressure, all those expectations, and all eyes on her? Oh, just casually dropped 21 points, including a deep three that would make Steph Curry grin. She orchestrated the game like a maestro, lifted her squad's energy, and reminded everyone that she's not just a star, she's a one-woman movement.
She hits her signature logo three from 36 feet, actually behind her signature logo that was on.
But this goes way beyond the scoreboard. Caitlin Clark is fundamentally altering the league's DNA. She's turning onlookers into die-hard fans, skeptics into supporters, and giving networks a reason to open their wallets. She's not just playing, she's transforming how the sport is broadcast, marketed, and adored. Merchandise is selling out, tickets are gone, social numbers are exploding, and now ESPN, CBS, and ABC are all paying attention because Caitlin Clark has made skipping women's basketball no longer an option. Still, not everyone is applauding.
Highest rated NHL game was roughly 430,000 viewers behind only 2 NBA preseason games in the last 15 years had bigger ratings than this game. It outdrew game 1 of the 2024 WNBA finals. Oh, get mad. Get angry.
While the basketball world stood stunned, Angel Reese's mother unleashed a social media post that straddled the line between petty and theatrical. She didn't name names, but she didn't have. To anyone with Wi-Fi knew exactly who she meant. The target was unmistakably Caitlin Clark.
Got Angel Reese's mom. She put this out in the public space. Oh, that certain fan base looking in the stands, celebrating quote attendance, while others are looking up in the rafters celebrating championship banners. We ain't the same. Different years, same haters. Have a great day.
Her argument? That Caitlin's meteoric rise is less about talent and more about privilege. That the attention is driven by media bias. That her own daughter was villainized while Clark was celebrated for identical actions. It's a familiar refrain, one we've heard before.
0.3 million viewers on the TV rating for Caitlin Clark's preseason debut against Brazil in a blowout, sold out in front of 15,000 fans at $670 a ticket. She is the needle.
Caitlin Clark returned to Iowa yesterday. It looked like the entire state of Iowa shut down. This is what the drawing power of a real star looks like.
Let's be honest, this isn't new. Ever since that iconic LSU versus Iowa NCAA matchup, complete with "you can't see me" antics, there's been lingering frustration from the Reese camp about how Clark gets the hero's welcome, while Angel plays the villain. Now, with Caitlin breaking records and entering the WNBA like she owns the court, that resentment is spilling out. Reese's fans cried foul, Clark's fans fired back, but one truth stayed intact. Caitlin Clark wasn't handed anything. She earned it all with relentless practice, jaw-dropping highlights, and elite numbers. This isn't media hype, it's a career carved out by excellence, grace, and sheer talent.
We made a homecoming, and the arena was less than half full. 13,215 available seats. They didn't even sell half of those. One is moving the needle. The other one is not even fluttering it. Instagram followers do not translate into viewership on television during actual basketball games.
But that wasn't the end of it. Reese's mom didn't stop at just one post. She dove headfirst into full-scale meltdown mode, liking and sharing every post that suggested Clark's support base was racially biased or pushing a media plot to crown her as the Golden Girl. If a tweet accused ESPN of scheming behind closed doors, she hit like. While analysts struggled to steer the focus back to basketball, the online conversation spiraled. What should have been a triumphant moment for the sport devolved into a storm of identity arguments and digital finger-pointing. Reese supporters dug in, Clark fans stood firm, and somewhere in the chaos, a groundbreaking basketball shift was being drowned out.
My role model, I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura. So.
And through all the noise, one person didn't join the circus Caitlin Clark. While others were tweeting their frustrations and fueling the drama, Clark stayed locked in on what truly counts, her game. No cryptic posts, no statements, just scoring. As Reese's side aired grievances, Caitlin kept draining shots and packing arenas like it was routine. And that silence, it spoke louder than any viral thread ever could.
The state of Iowa experienced something yesterday that they have never experienced before. Traffic. Crowds. Thousands and thousands of people were standing outside of the arena hours before the game even started.
Still, the frustration from Team Reese says a lot. At its core, it reveals a deeper truth about this moment. Clark's dominance is so powerful, it's shaking the league at its foundation. This isn't only about points and highlights, it's about who holds influence, who controls the narrative, and how women's sports will be shaped from here on out. Because when Caitlin Clark breaks viewership records and becomes the face of a league overnight, it's not just the game she's challenging, it's the gatekeepers. The question isn't just how talented is Caitlin Clark, it's who gets to decide what greatness looks like now.
Angel Reese loves the attention. She is extremely popular on social media. When she posts provocative pictures, thousands of lonely dudes give her the validation that she so desperately desires.
This isn't just some one-sided spat. It's a high-stakes battle over who shapes the next chapter of women's basketball. For years, the WNBA has hustled for relevance, demanding fair pay, more visibility, and bigger audiences. And those gains weren't handed over easily. Veteran players fought tooth and nail through media apathy, exhausting travel and salaries, so low even interns would shake their heads.
Didn't plan to shoot that logo three. I know coming into the game, everybody wanted me to shoot one from there. But Steph was like, was supposed to come out at the end of the third, so she's like, give a foul, give a foul, give a foul. And then it was 30 seconds on the clock, which like between 30 to 33, that's like your 2-for-1 range where you have to get one up. So I saw 30 as we're inbounding the ball, which probably is inbounding the ball at 30, probably a little low, but I was like, why not?
Then comes Caitlin Clark, and suddenly the league is trending daily. TV networks are throwing out bids like it's March Madness, and ticket prices are skyrocketing in places that once struggled to fill seats. It's the surge the league's longed for, but it's also stirring tension. For players like Angel Reese and her supporters, who've endured the grind without the glory, it can feel like Clark cut the line, collecting admiration they've waited years for. And that hurts.
Angel Reese is also influential in hip-hop culture. She has made cameos and music videos. The popularity of Angel Reese, it is an illusion. Caitlin Clark has managed to break through the niche culture of celebrity to become a mainstream draw. You can make the case that Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw right now in sport.
That's why Reese's mother's online jabs land with extra weight. It's not simply about Clark, but the fear that the power balance in the sport has tilted too quickly. But here's the flaw in that thinking. Caitlin Clark isn't taking from the league, she's adding to it. Her presence isn't a threat, it's a boost. The attention she commands spills over, bringing more exposure, more revenue, and more doors opening across the board.
How embarrassing! Now, you're not going to hear this from the mainstream media who continues to pretend that the Bayou Barbie is beloved. You're not going to hear this from the media who continues to pretend that Angel Reese is a huge star.
Even for those uneasy with the speed of this shift, the results speak for themselves. TV execs are lining up for Indiana Fever games. Teams are scrambling to move matchups to larger arenas, and Clark's jersey is selling like championship merch. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert herself admitted it. Caitlyn's impact is delivering the kind of financial lift the league has only dreamed of.
Since Caitlin Clark has entered the league, the prevailing conversation around the WNBA has been drawing power.
Let's call it what it is. Women's basketball is expanding faster than ever, and Caitlin Clark is the catalyst behind the boom. Of course, veterans deserve recognition, they laid the groundwork. But Clark is the skyscraper rising from that foundation. She's the reason parents are buying tickets, kids are picking up basketballs, and longtime NBA fans are finally tuning in. That's momentum, and it benefits everyone.
One of them packed 15,000 paid fans into the arena. The other couldn't fill the lower bowl.
But here's where things could derail if bitterness becomes louder than progress. If resentment takes center stage, the league could squander this rare window of opportunity. That's what makes the drama from Reese's camp so disheartening. New fans don't come for feuds, they come for highlights, elite play, and standout personalities. Clark delivers all three. And let's be honest, this isn't some balanced rivalry. The league wants that magic bird story, but right now, this is more Jordan versus whoever shows up. Caitlin Clark is widening the gap, lifting the sport, and putting it on the map in ways no one else has.
She does everything she can to keep her name in the headlines, yet for some reason, it doesn't translate to ticket sales, doesn't translate to television ratings. Angel Reese was the biggest star in Unrivaled. Hell, she was the only star in Unrivaled. No one was watching.
Still, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark will be forever intertwined. That NCAA clash sealed it. If approached the right way, it could evolve into a defining rivalry that drives headlines and elevates the league. But only if the battle stays on the hardwood. The months ahead are crucial. Clark is proving she's more than media buzz. She's grounded, focused, and setting a tone through action, not words. If the league mirrors that mindset, prioritizes the game, and keeps personal agendas out, the future looks dazzling.
But look at their career trajectories since then. Caitlin Clark is the only draw in the history of women's basketball. Angel Reese couldn't sell out home games at LSU, couldn't sell out home games in the WNBA in Chicago, can't fill half the arena for her homecoming celebration. Caitlin Clark doesn't beg for attention. Matter of fact, I would imagine that Caitlin Clark gets tired of the attention.
But if off-court drama drowns out on court, brilliance. If voices like Reese's mother keep hijacking attention, then the WNBA might become its own biggest roadblock. Caitlin Clark didn't just notch a TV milestone, she broke barriers. She drew in millions who now see what women's basketball can be. The ball's in the league's court now. Will they keep building on this momentum, or let infighting ruin the moment? Because one thing is certain, Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete. She's a phenomenon, a headline machine, a generational force. And the only question left is who's ready to rise with her. If you're all in, drop Fired Up. For the Fever, in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what's coming next.